everybody, and thank you for your patience, and welcome to all of you to our second Change Talk event for 2019. For those of you who haven't been here before, Change Talk was brought about. It was an idea that we had just over 2 years ago, and we realized that there really is a need to create more awareness around organizational change management. So we decided to host a biannual event where we create awareness of change management, we create a community of practice around driving and managing and leading people through change, and also to build the maturity of change management across organizations. Just a show of hands, how many of you have been here before or been to one of the sessions before? So we've got quite a few returning people, so that's great to see. Thank you very much. And a show of hands for those of you who are new to Change Talk. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you for joining us. It's lovely to have you here. Part of Change Talk really is to learn, connect, and to be inspired. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Debbie Schön, and I'm the Managing Director of a company called Diversified Consulting, and our focus is on change management and change management only. So we specialize specifically in leading people through change, helping leaders lead change, helping change practitioners manage change effectively, and helping employees through the change process. Just to share with you, our company, Diversified Consulting, has a purpose statement and a vision, and that is to make any change, no matter how difficult, one that is possible. 6 years ago, when we started Diversified Consulting as a change management company, our director of consulting, Linda, and myself were working at a client, and this client was rolling out a retrenchment process. We weren't part of that Section 189. And we saw how poorly it was managed. And we said, you know what, we never want to see that happen again. We never want to see people go through the most difficult change in their lives, in their careers, being managed so poorly. We want to make a difference. And that's where this purpose statement was born out of. All right, just to share with you, as you are very well aware, and clearly you're very adept at it, today is about connecting. And part of that is we do have our social media sites. If you'd like to use social media, for any of you that do, you can use #ChangeTalk to connect with us. So, let me introduce you to who we have on our panel today. And I would like to start off with Sandra Labella, who is the Group CIO at Alexander Forbes. So, Sandy is a passionate and energetic, very energetic, and decisive executive, and she has over 33 years of technology experience, so she plays very strongly in that space. She's driven transformation projects, she provides strategic direction in organizations, and has worked across a diverse number of industries, including banking, financial services, food, manufacturing, and retail. Her roles have cut across things like software design and development, program directing, CIO, head of technology transformation and adoption, cloud and strategic change, transformation lead, and technology risk officer. So if you've got any questions around technology, you know who to speak to. Okay. She's got an enviable track record of directing organizations through their technology change to make sure they remain innovative, disruptive, and abreast of changing technology. And she does that always to make sure that that organization is satisfying the customer's needs and that that company is remaining competitive. Her success is underpinned by the financial results that she's achieved through cost efficiencies, as well as a strong focus on managing risk. She's renowned for her ability to translate business strategy into technology strategy and to drive future systems, as well as future thinking and financial well-being for organizations. With her teams, and I must tell you, I've seen Sandy in action with people in her environment. She is engaging, she is inclusive, she is collaborative, she is respectful to every single person that she deals with on a daily basis. She works with her teams to implement complex projects and to successfully deploy them to make sure that the benefits are met. She's experienced in leading and managing teams, and with her organizational capabilities, she has a very strong desire to achieve goals, and nothing will hold her back. She's successful in all aspects of her career, and that is a real driver for her. On the personal side, she enjoys a lot of hobbies. She's quite an adventurer. So her career as well as her personal adventures are quite interesting. So some of her highlights are that she has taken multiple walks into the Himalayas.
Oh, wow.
She has summited Island Peak at 6,985 meters. She has walked to Everest Base Camp. She has climbed Kilimanjaro. I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm feeling like a little bit of an underachiever. Okay. She's run several 21K marathons. And she's just recently returned from India, where she took a walk into the Valley of the Flowers. So, having spent some time with Sandy, I can tell you now she's an inspiring leader, she's quite an adventurer, and she puts no limits on herself, and she takes people along with her. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you.
Right, the next lady I'd like to introduce is Leah Katolo. Leah is a senior change consultant for Diversified Consulting, and she is an independent contractor. As a learning and development practitioner, by training and by experience, Leah has designed and developed a new tool that she's taken to market called the 4 C's, and it's all about organizational transformation. The 4 C's really help people around organizational as well as personal growth and provide a platform for future-proofing skills. She's a certified Neurozone purpose coach. She's a member of the ICF, which is the International Coach Federation, and she's an inspirational speaker. So, after this panel discussion, suss her out for yourself, but if you would like an inspirational speaker, you know who to call on. She is the founder of many, many things. She's the founder of A Woman's Worth Chapters. She's a director at Leah K. She's a managing partner at the Art Cartel Media. She's an associate at Equilibrium Consulting. She is also an active infrared sauna practitioner. You may be asking, why? What is that? As I did. What on earth is an infrared sauna practitioner? And it's quite interesting because it's basically a way to naturally treat health problems. And what Leah does is she incorporates that with her 4C model for personal well-being. Leah is recognized for her future mindset, her enthusiasm, her agility, and her focus. She has a growth mindset. She has vast experience across Africa. She has innovative approaches towards human performance improvement initiatives and has worked across multiple organizations. Her emphasis is on finding creative and sustainable ways of maintaining a positive return on talent, as well as investing in talent and making sure that that comes through for both the individual and organizations. She has shared with us that her primary purpose is the contribution towards building future-proofing skills for people, and not only for ourselves, but also for those who follow in our footsteps. So leaving a legacy is a very important part of her focus. And she does this by collaborating and creating initiatives with thought leaders. Just to share with you, working with Leah on our team, she has an incredible ability to connect with people, to engage with people, to influence people positively, to take on change. She always finds a way to contribute meaningfully to people around her, as well as to empower and to lead with dignity. You will see how that comes across when she engages with you. Do yourself a favor, Google her name.
No,
okay? I Googled it when we first met with her, excuse me, and I Googled it again last night. Oh my gosh, just pages and pages and pages. So very, very interesting. And I think you also have, for example, blogs, etc., Leah, that people can look at. Wonderful.
Thank you. Well done.
Right. Our third panel member is Kamini Maharaj. As the surname Maharaj says, when I first met her, I said, wow, that sounds like royalty.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Kamini is a lady of royalty. Okay. She is distinguished. She carries herself with dignity. Kamini holds a master's in human resource management and is currently working as a senior consultant for us on 2 significant projects. She is also an independent consultant. She has a breadth of HR experience, and she's gained that over various roles that she's held across multiple organizations. She's used the experience that she's gained as the head of people to consult in the fields of people management and strategy. She's got an impressive repertoire of skills in her quiver, and those include performance management, organizational design, learning and development, business strategy development, human capital strategy development, leadership development, process improvement, program and project management skills. So she really has got a lot that she can share, not only breadth-wise, but depth-wise too. She's led multiple organizational transformational initiatives that have really changed the way a business operates. She's got first-hand experience, of course, through all of that in really seeing how organizational politics plays out. And that was one of the key reasons why we wanted her on the panel. On a personal note, she's married. She's got 2 children. She has a canine granddaughter. She loves traveling, and despite having traversed most parts of the world, she has a never-ending bucket list of destinations. In 5 weeks' time, she's off to Nepal and Tibet, and she's going to be tracking Sandy to Everest Base Camp.
Oh, wow.
I'm jealous. When I first met Kamini, she was just talking about having left the corporate world and the importance of work-life balance. One of the most meaningful parts of her life as well is getting to yoga. And she says if she doesn't have at least 1 yoga class a week, she feels like she's been dealt a hard blow. Speaking from experience, Harmony is a strong, humble, and influential leader who makes an impact the moment you meet her. Thank you, Carol. Right, and then I'd like to introduce our MC, who is Linda Otto, who is the Director of Consulting for Diversified Consulting. She is passionate about ensuring that change management as a discipline provides not only a meaningful contribution to organizations, but is also measurable. She's responsible for the quality delivery and all of our consultants based in Johannesburg and in our Cape Town office, and she makes sure that our clients get the best outcomes. She has a background in human sciences and people development, and she has a strong interest in driving societal change as well as organizational change. She believes that we all have a role to play in creating positive change in our country, with the leadership in business as well as our change community. And she believes that we're well positioned to drive new innovations and new ways of thinking and behaving to drive new possibilities in our country. Mm. She's a seasoned change management professional and a strong leader. Last year, she actually attended the Nexus leadership program here at Gibbs. And it's so interesting how it had such a profound impact on her view of societal issues in South Africa and the role that we all have to play in contributing meaningfully. One of her favorite places to escape to is Mozambique. And she got married in a place called Ponta Malangan. Has anybody here been to Mozambique? Mm-hmm. Okay, a few of you. If you haven't, please, a destination of choice for those of you who like beach holidays. And absolutely beautiful. She's a passionate and proud Joburger. She's always actively supporting animal welfare initiatives, including adoption and sterilization programs. She shares her home with her husband, Sito, 2 Great Danes, a basset hound, cats, birds, a tortoise, to name a few. She has her zoo. She has a real heart for those who cannot speak for themselves. And I'd love to hand over to Linda now to take you through the Change Talk event.
Thank you so much. And as Debbie mentioned earlier, it's really, really great to see so many new faces and also the familiar faces in the audience. And we're really going to be getting our teeth into such a fascinating topic, and that really is, how do we drive change while navigating organizational politics? And one of the things that I want to just put out here, for those of you that haven't attended these events before, is that we certainly don't stand up here as experts that know it all. The value of the participation of these events is that we also want to get insights and learning and ideas from you as panel, from our panel members, and also from you as our audience. So this is collective learning, it's about collective sharing, and yeah, it's just really fantastic to be here, so thank you so much. There are really 5 key aspects that we're going to be touching on over the short period of time that we have this morning. And the first is really the interplay between politics and change. We're going to be looking at how we need to navigate organizational politics in order to deliver change. The different levels of organizational politics that we may not always be aware of. We're going to be looking at some of the practical skills that some of us may already have, and some of us may not really be mindful of yet, that can actually help us when we go back into our environments. And then last but not least, just looking at how politics can actually be harnessed for good. So those are the key dimensions that we're going to be looking at. I just want to say that there is so much on this topic. If you start Googling the different elements and aspects of organizational politics, you really are going to be spending days and days and days looking at the incredible content that's out there. So we may not get to every single aspect that perhaps you would want it to as part of our time today. But it just speaks to the richness of the subject and how much there really is for us to explore. So when we look at organizational politics, I think everyone in business is exposed to organizational change. And we may or may not be aware of it, but we're also being exposed to politics at one level or another. Different people in the room have got different perceptions or different ideas around politics. And whether we like it or not, though, we are all playing the game in one form or another. So we really like the idea of survivor when it comes to organizational politics. And if we think about survivor organizational politics, there's 3 different types of players that we would be looking at. And the first is those that are here to win, those that play to win, and those are our out players. We also have those individuals that are playing not to lose. And they're the ones that we see as being the ones that are outlasting. And then lastly, we have those individuals that actually don't want to play the game at all. They don't like politics. They think politics is dirty. They think politics is underhanded. And so as a result, they would rather outcast themselves from the game altogether. And before we go into a little more detail around that, I would like to find out just off the bat where you would see yourself playing generally. So where do you see yourself playing in your environment? So we're going to go to poll everywhere. So if you go to your poll everywhere, the first question that's going to come up is, where would you plot yourself as a political player? Do you believe that you are someone that plays to win? Do you believe that you are someone that plays not to lose? Or are you someone that actually inadvertently plays to lose by choosing not to play at all? Okay, great. So really, really interesting. If we look at the responses that are coming through from everyone in the room today, we've got a diverse range of different strategies that are traditionally being used when it comes to navigating organizational politics. We've got 40% of the people in the room that say that they play to win. We've got, oh, that's going down. It's going up to, oh, wait, it's shifting. Are you doing this on purpose? Are you changing your answers? But yeah, there's a large percentage of us that are saying that we're actually playing not to lose. So we'd rather go for the draw. We'd not rather keep the status quo than lose what we currently have. And then there's 6% of us that are saying they actually don't like playing the game at all. So I think that's really, really great. And remember where and how you rated yourself, because at the end of the session, we're going to go back and we're going to ask you the same question. And I want to see whether there's a shift in your thinking in terms of how you'd like to play going forward. I think it always helps, if we're going to be looking at a point of departure, it always helps understanding the different sort of players that are involved in the game. And traditionally, I like to think of, and it's such a well-used analogy, but I like to think of a soccer game. And if you think of any soccer game, there's always three sorts of players that you're looking at. And the first, or three sorts of teams that you may be looking at. And the first is the team that is playing to win. They are the team that are there to outplay, and they are the team that are focused on scoring goals. And if you look at those individuals, their motivation is very much around a promotion-based motivation. Their goal is opportunity. Their goal is taking risks. They're happy to take risks. They're optimistic. They're prepared to score goals at any cost. And as a result, what you might find is that they don't always have a plan B, and they may also be open to making mistakes in their efforts to win. But they cannot conceive that there's any other option at all than to win that game. So they have an attacking strategy. We then have teams that often have a defensive strategy, and those are the ones that we say that have a prevention focus. And they're playing not to lose. Those are the teams that are playing for the draw. They're just playing it even. They don't want to win. They just don't want to lose. So they're just looking for the draw. And here we find that they're very much focused on maintaining the status quo. They're very much focused on not losing what they currently have. Their biggest worry is losing what they currently have and making a mistake. So that's the other team that we often see on the field. The third level of player that we have are our supporters. So what you find is with your supporters, and that's who I put in the third category, they've got quite a passive focus to the game. And even though they might have a vested interest in the outcome of the game, they're not really doing anything that is going to actively change the end result of the game. You know that you can scream and shout as much as you want for your favorite team. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually going to score. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be able to stop the other team from scoring either. So really, you've taken a passive focus to what's going on. And what we find is with these sorts of players, they know that there's a game playing out. They're choosing not to get involved. Or what we often find is these individuals get involved once they've sussed out the situation. Or if you think about your streakers that run onto the pitch and disrupt the game, these individuals might be the ones that actually come in at the last minute and disrupt all of the energy and effort that's been taking place to date. I think what's really important to realize, though, is, and one of the great analogies or one of the great quotes that was used in some of the literature we referenced when we were doing our research was that some people don't want to play politics, and some people don't like politics because they're just not good at it. Some of us don't like playing politics because we're just not great at it. And that may be all well and good, but whether we like it or not, as change professionals and as leaders, if we're going to be in these roles, we need to start coming to peace with the role that politics plays and our role that we need to play in politics as well, and in organizational politics. Because if you look at the relationship with politics and change, organizational politics will drive change within an organization, and it often does drive change within an organization. Conversely, as leaders and as change professionals, whenever you're implementing some level of change or some form of a change, you're also going to be driving politics as a result. Because wherever there's a change, people are going to be vying for scarce resources. People are going to be vying for or trying not to lose something that they want to hold on to. People are going to be vying or trying to gain something that they want. So one of the things that I will say is that you might be in the wrong career if you don't want to play organizational politics at all. Whether we like it or not, politics and influence go hand in hand. And if you look at the literature, they say that politics is simply a form of influence. That's all it is. Politics is simply a form of influence. And again, maybe it's just a case of going, how do we see politics and how do we look at some of the behaviors? And it doesn't mean that we have to behave badly. There are really, really constructive and positive behaviors that we can look at in order to achieve the results that we need to. they also look at politically savvy people and how much better they do in their roles, how much better they are at managing stress, how much better they are at managing job pressures than their politically naive counterparts. So it's definitely a skill that we need to have under our belts. The good news for all of us here today is that we're going to be sharing some tools and some tips and some tricks on how we can all be more politically savvy players when it comes to driving change while navigating organizational politics. So on that note, I want us to have a look at what definition we have around organizational politics. So the definition that we have is it's a variety of activities that are associated with the use of influence tactics to improve personal or organizational interests. On that note, I want to hand over, and I want to just ask the audience, I feel like it's a game show, just for some of your insights around the impact that organizational politics has had on you. So Tam and Terry, if you want to just grab the mics. And it doesn't have to be, massive stories, but just how have you experienced organizational politics? What has the impact been on you as an individual? What has the impact been on maybe your project, your business area, or your organization as a whole? I'd like to just get some feedback, just to hear what your experiences have been. You can just put up your hand, and Tam and Terry can bring the mic to you.
Regarding politics, I mean, I'm about 20 years into my career, still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. But I worked for many years on and off, and eventually left them with the breweries. Starting off as SAB Miller, then ending off with AB InBev. And I'm an auditor by profession. So we were at the forefront of, as internal audit in Africa, to watch all these changes materialize. And, regarding politics, the people that we would, genuinely, the go-to people changed overnight. And it was such a dynamic landscape that sometimes you would just go, okay, we're not seeing the bigger picture, because the people, because at the end of the day it's people that drive the politics, and the people that our department or our function had gotten comfortable, you're never really comfortable, understood that was north was not there anymore. So building up and understanding the who to speak to was almost a goal every single day. It was a strategy every single day. What's our next strategic move? Because this is where we have to go to win.
Wow.
And the lands. Okay, understandably, it was a big transaction, and understandably, the landscape changed drastically. But I think that the people that, in my view, the people that came out successful were the ones that were fluid in being able to manage that change, that actually were comfortable with talking to other people and understanding what's driving the other, what's the agenda now.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets that.
No.
So
Sure.
that's just my view.
Thank you.
Amen.
Wow. Not knowing what your alliances were from one day to the next. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Akinji. If you don't know how to spell it, it's completely fine. No one ever does. So my experiences in terms of organizational politics, so I'm fresh into the change space. I've think going on to a year of experience in change and what
Welcome.
it means. I've got more years in learning and development, and I think as a learning and development person, you kind of quickly get into the grasp of what politics means, because your role is essentially playing in politics. you generally are the first person blamed. And I realized moving into the change space, that's pretty much the same experience. So it transitions. But understanding that to be effective in your role means more understanding the relationships, the bureaucracy, the intricacy of influence, and whether it's coming from yourself or coming from other parties. So when I moved into my current role, I always look at it in terms of so at Discovery, we're currently busy with the project in implementing an HR system. And one of the biggest challenges was getting people to jump onto the bandwagon of this new change. And immediately there's hesitance from all stakeholders because it's a new change. They're comfortable with the status quo of what is happening and how you've done things for years and what you taught when you first came into your space. So one of the biggest things I think that you realize is that the change effort really is in the politics. And I think also it's around how do you use influence correctly? So yes, in a typical project, you've got a sponsor who's going to advocate, but the reality is the sponsor has so much control. What you're really looking for is who's the key motivators, who are the individuals who low-key might not be the biggest voice in the room, but have the most powerful relationships. And you quickly realize by bringing these people into your kind of like corner to say, listen, are you in it based on your own interests? They say, yes, your change is going to be amazing. The impact rises so substantially rather than you trying to use your own influence. And I think that's what we keep doing, is that we inadvertently never get taught how to play politics.
No.
It's not something inherently you learn in your tertiary education, and culturally as well, that also plays a part of it because you never get exposed to using influence to get people to what you want to do. And I think what's important is that, because I personally have started a mentorship to grow that capability, but I think it's important as individuals that we find individuals who are seniored, who've have learned how to navigate politics, and we quickly get that education in order for us to really make an impact.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thanks for sharing. It's such a valid point. We're not taught how to play politics. They actually should have it as a subject at school because it's just playing out around us all the time. And we're doing the best that we can. But it's also a case of we often don't know what we don't know, and that does have a serious impact on us.